Rick Wilson is the co-founder of the Lincoln Project, a project which actually was founded to defeat Donald Trump on the ballots and maybe even beyond. Rick, thank you for making time for Deutsche Welle.
Thank you so much for having me, Ines. I mean, it's founding the Lincoln Project in 2019. We thought we'd have to fight Donald Trump once, but here we are again.
Let's talk a little bit about the midterms before we talk about him and his speech and the future of the Republican Party. Were you surprised that the red wave didn't happen the way many were expecting?
Not really. I thought the red wave was overhyped. I knew that there would be pickups in the House and they would probably take the majority. But we were seeing different numbers than the Republicans were putting out there in these low quality polls, because those surveys were statistically weak, but they were built in order to sort of build up a sense of momentum for the Republicans.
Right. So the biggest message, I think, is that the Trump endorsed candidates lost pretty big. What does this tell us about the state of the United States?
And we were able to pull about 11%, 11 to 14% of Republicans in different races this year away from the Trump candidates because they don't embrace the conspiracy, the cruelty, the crazy, talk, and they don't really want to hear over and over again about these weird fantasies that Donald Trump had the election stolen. They understand he was beaten, and so those people that he selected were weaker candidates by definition. The people he selected were unable to put together effective campaigns.
Right, but here we are. So Trump endorsed candidates, lost big time, but he announced his candidacy again. Why did he do that at this very moment?
He wants to get back in that spotlight politically because he knows there are other people rising in the estimation of the donor class and the media class, like Ron DeSantis, Glenn Youngkin, Nikki Haley, Josh Hawley, Ted Cruz. He sees them coming up behind him and he does not like what he sees. So he's going to try to darken the sky before they can all get in the race. And finally, Donald Trump, the best business he's ever had is raising money from Republican donors. It's the most effective, profitable company he's ever run. And so he needs to get back in the field so he can claim that he needs their money to run for president. It's obviously not to run for president, it's to support his lifestyle, but that's what he's going to make the claim of. And so we're going to be in a position, I think, where those three factors are very strongly driving Trump's reentry into the race.
So many big names in the Republican Party are really turning their back towards Donald Trump. What does this mean for him? First question, and then second question for the Republican Party.
I think we're going to see the same movie play out again in 2024, where the people who oppose him until they don't. And I think that there's a overestimated degree of rejection of Trump and how long it will last, because we've seen this all before. We had plenty of people who came out on January 7th, like Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, and they said Donald Trump is unacceptable, he must go. And then they wouldn't impeach him. And then they've all said since then they'll vote for him again. This is not a simple path for the Republicans, but it is one that is entirely predictable.
So you think they will just kind of falling back in the old kind of habit to support him again, let's say in a year's time or so?
I do. I think they're going to fall back because the bitter reality for all of them is very simple. The base of the Republican Party knows Donald Trump. They still like Donald Trump. And it doesn't matter if that base is smaller than it used to be. It used to be 85% of the Republican Party. But if Donald Trump is running for office and he goes to Iowa or New Hampshire or South Carolina in the beginning of the campaign, and 15% of Republicans stick with him, he's going to win all those races. He will win the primary. They will all come home. They will all come back to him because they're afraid of the base. They know at some point if they oppose him that the base will turn on them and they will get a primary from a MAGA candidate and they will lose.
Is there anybody who could change this game? Like you just named some DeSantis, Youngkins. What are they going to do?
These are not talented people. And And Trump, for all his flaws and evils, has a kind of feral political cunning. He has a kind of animal sense of weakness and of showmanship that he'll bring to bear against Ron DeSantis or Glenn Youngkin or whomever it is.
Ron DeSantis won big times in Florida. That gives him somewhat a momentum, doesn't it?
Not really. I disagree with that because I'm a guy who's been in Florida politics since I was a kid. In 1988 was my first big campaign here. And Florida has the best Republican Party in the country. Ron DeSantis had an unlimited amount of money. He had the best party in the country working for him behind the scenes. Charlie Crist, the Democratic candidate, was a former Republican. His old party hates him. His new party doesn't trust him. And he had no money to spend. So the question isn't why did Ron DeSantis win by 20? The question is why didn't he win by 40? This is a guy who should have blown the doors out. And in the American analogy, it's like he started out on third base and thought he hit a home run. This is not a guy who has been tested in a real battle against a candidate like Donald Trump, who, as we know, has a certain sick psychological gift for breaking people who run against him. And the other part of this is, if Ron DeSantis is the leading candidate against Trump, he therefore is an anti-Trump candidate. He is going to find himself in a position that a lot of the base voters of the Republican Party will just not, who don't know him yet, will go, oh, it must be some anti-Trump guy, some never Trump guy. We can't support this guy. So it's a very dangerous position for him, and it's a very tricky path for him. Can he beat Trump in a primary? Maybe. Okay, let's say he does. Donald Trump then spends the rest of the campaign from the sidelines dumping on Ron DeSantis, sniping at Ron DeSantis, bitching about Ron DeSantis. And if 4 or 5% of Republican voters that love Trump stay home, you can't win. It's a very tough spot for the Republicans right now. They're stuck with Trump. They're locked in the room with him, and they don't know how to get out.
What will DeSantis do? Do you think he will challenge him, or will he wait out? I mean, he's still young. He's just in the early 40s.
In the end, I think he will challenge him, but not very seriously. Mm-hmm. I think he'll put his toe in the water and then say, my kids are so young, I don't want to put them through this. My wife had cancer, I don't want to put her through this. And I'm a young man, I can come back again. I want to serve Florida and show America what a great state, how a great state is run. I mean, again, I don't think he wants to take the beating that Trump will administer to him if he gets in this race.
And probably nobody else as well.
Look, some of them might, but I don't see I don't see a lot of them. It's not going to be a field of 15 as it was back in 2016. I don't think you're going to see 15 or 17 people. I think you're going to see a smaller field. Oh, some people who want to put a marker down, but I don't think they're going to particularly be an impressive crowd.
Rick, I'm sure you listened and watched his speech. What do you make of it? I'm talking about Donald Trump.
Needy, egotistical, paranoid. A speechwriter actually wrote a lot of it, but it wasn't delivered that way. And it's, the grievances that Trump has always been motivated by are still there. And I think that those grievances they came through very clearly in the speech. I think we're going to see those as part of the campaign story as well, which is not great for Trump. It makes it easier for Biden if Trump is still litigating the past.
Talking about Biden, is Biden the only one who could beat Trump?
I always believed in 2020 that he was the only one who could beat Trump. I still believe that he is better positioned than anyone to beat Trump. But look, who knows how the field would emerge if Joe Biden, God forbid, got sick or had a heart attack or whatever. We don't know what the field would look like. And how skillful the people that would emerge might be. There might be some wild cards in there that could change the game.
There is Liz Cheney and some other Republicans. What are they going to do now?
Liz played a decisive role in taking out Carrie Lake and a few other of these Republican MAGA types who had attacked her and her family, and good for her. But I don't know where she and Adam and others are going to land yet on a new party. That's still something that's very much up in the air and being discussed around the Republican and never Trump circles as we speak.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Rick. I'm sure we keep this conversation going.